Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. And today we're going to do another mini lesson on writing the equation of a line in slope-intercept form with given information. Okay, so we're going to be working on questions 29 through 35 for this video. So let's go ahead and knock these out. Number 29 reads, write the equation of the line that passes through the point -6, 1 and has a slope of 1/2. Okay, so let's see, they've given us a slope, 1/2, and they told us the point that they wanted to pass through. Okay, so we can use the point slope formula, which states y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, okay, to solve this. And we're going to label x1 and y1 from our point. Now we have m, and we have y1, and we have x1. We're just going to plug those numbers in. So y minus 1 equals 1/2 times x minus -6. Now, we already know that when you have a double negative, that turns to a positive, okay? And on the right side, we're going to have to distribute 1/2 times x and 1/2 times 6, or 1/2 of 6, okay? When we continue solving, we'll have y minus 1 equals 1/2 x, and then half of 6 is 3, plus 3. And then our last step, if we draw a little line here, okay, our last step is to add 1 to both sides. So when we do that, we're going to get the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 4, and that would be our final answer. Okay, let's take a look at number 30. Now, number 30, they actually want us to write the equation of the line, but they are giving us 2 points. So the first thing we're going to have to do is find the slope. We need a slope. Anytime you write an equation, you need a slope and you need a y-intercept. Okay, so let's find our slope. M equals y2 minus y1. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So with doing that, that's going to give us the equation 6 minus 1 divided by -2 minus 3. When we simplify that, that's going to become 5 divided by -5, which equals -1. So we know that our slope is -1, and we're going to use this point here and the slope and plug it into this point slope formula. Remember, the point slope formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And then we go ahead and plug it in and use our formula. So we're going to have y minus 1, because our y1 is 1, equals our slope, which is -1, times x minus 3, because x1 is 3. And then from there, we just distribute and simplify. So that's going to be y minus 1 equals -1x plus 3. Then we're going to add 1 to both sides. So that's going to make our final answer y equals -1x plus 4. Final answer. Okay? Number 31. Number 31 says write a linear equation that is parallel to the line below and passes through the point. So instead of, in 29, they actually gave us the slope. We didn't have to figure it out. Now in 30, they gave us a slope, but they gave it to us indirectly. So let's figure out what the slope is. And that line, I don't like it. It's too bold. So let's do this. Make a right triangle. And now just count how many units this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that was up. So m is equal to 6 over, and then that's 1, 2. 6 over 2, which equals 3. So our slope is 3. And we're going to use x1 and y1, and then we're going to use our point slope formula again. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we're going to plug our numbers in. Y minus y1, which is -13, equals 3 times x minus -4. Now, we have 2 sets of double negatives, so that's going to change to plus signs. And then we just go ahead and simplify by solving for y. So that's going to make y plus 13 equals 3x plus 12. Then we're going to subtract 13 from both sides. And that's going to give us y equals 3x minus 1. All right, and this would be our final answer. Oops, I didn't mean to delete that like that. But this would be our final answer for number 31. Number 32, ask us basically again to write an equation that's parallel, okay, to 5x plus 2y equals -8 and passes through the point 8, -9. Once again, we got to determine what the slope is. Parallel lines have the same slope. So first, we need to take this equation and solve for y. 5x plus 2y equals -8. Subtract 5x from both sides is going to make -5x on the other side. And the 8 is already negative, okay? And then we're going to divide everything by 2. And we have to simplify this. So that's really going to become y equals -5/2x minus 4. The slope is -5/2. Okay, and the point that they want us to use is x1, y1, which is +8 and -9. So with that being said, now we're going to use our point slope formula. And we're going to just plug our numbers in. Okay, so that's going to become y minus y1 is -9 equals the slope, which is -5/2, x minus 8, because 8 is x1. And we have double negative, so we add, and we can draw a little line here. Okay, now we just need to simplify. Y plus 9 equals -5/2x, -5/2 x. The negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 8 is 40. And 40 divided by 2 is 20. And then we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. So our final answer would be y equals -5/2x plus 11. That would be our final answer. Okay? Let's take a look at number 33. Number 33 is asking for a perpendicular line with perpendicular to y equals -4x minus 6, but through that point. So perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. The slope here, m is equal to -4, but what's perpendicular to -4? +1/4. So we're going to use +1/4 in this point, x1, y1, and we're going to plug them into our point slope formula. So when doing that, we'll end up with y minus 10 equals +1/4 times x minus 4, and then we'll simplify it. 1/4 times x is 1/4 x, and 1/4 times -4 is -1. Then we just add 10 to both sides. That's going to give us y equals 1/4 x plus 9. There's our final answer. Number 34 is asking us about the same thing, except they don't give us the slope right away. So we have to solve this equation. We have to solve this equation right here for y to figure out our slope. So if we move x to the other side, that makes -5. Y equals -2x plus 5. Divide everything by -5. That becomes -2 divided by 5x plus 5 divided by -5. When we simplify that, y equals 2/5 x. Y equals 2/5 x minus 1, and we need this slope. Remember, perpendicular to that would be -5/2. So we got to use -5/2 in this point, x1, y1, which is +2, -9. And we're going to substitute that stuff into our point slope formula and simplify. So when doing that, y minus -9 equals -5/2x minus 2. Then simplify. This becomes a plus. So that's y plus 9 equals negative 5 over 2x plus 5, because a negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 2 is 10, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. And now we're just going to subtract 9 from both sides. That makes y equals negative 5 over 2x minus 4, and this would be our final answer for number 34. All right, last but not least, number 35. Number 35 reads, segment RS is formed by R negative 2, negative 10, and S positive 10, negative 4. If line K is the perpendicular bisector of RS, write an equation for line K. So there's a few things we need to break down about line K. It says line K is the perpendicular bisector. Now, we've already done enough perpendicular problems to know that the slopes of perpendicular lines have to be opposite reciprocals. So we already know that part. Now, bisector is the other thing that we need to focus on for this one. A bisector has to cut a segment in half. So if we know that RS is the segment, a bisector is going to cut it in half, which means it's going to intersect it at its midpoint. Okay, so cut in half at midpoint, right? So any bisector always cuts a segment at the midpoint of the segment. So with that being said, yes, we do need to know the slope of RS, but before that, we need to know what the point is, okay? What point is it gonna actually intersect RS? So first thing we need to do is find the midpoint. After we find the midpoint, the second thing that we need to do is to find the slope. Find midpoint of RS, find the slope of RS, and then we need to get and when we find the slope, we need to get something that's perpendicular. And then after that, the last thing, the third thing, we can write our equation. Okay, so those are going to be the steps that we use here to figure this out. So I'm going to do a little erasing. And the very first thing, we want to find the midpoint of RS. So remember, when we do midpoint, this is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. So midpoint tells us to do x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So when we find the midpoint, we're gonna have, let's make those look like 2's. We're gonna add both of our x's, that's negative 2 plus 10, and then we're gonna add both of our y's, which is negative 10 plus negative 4, and both of those answers we're gonna divide by 2. So that's gonna become 8 divided by 2, and this is gonna become negative 14 divided by 2. And our final answer for the midpoint, our midpoint of our S is going to be positive 4, negative 7. Okay, so now that we know that, now we need to go ahead and find the slope of RS. Okay, positive 4, negative 7 is where our perpendicular bisector is going to intersect. Is the point that it's going to pass through. Okay, so now the next thing we need to do, the second part, is find the slope. Slope is m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So for us, that's going to give us negative 4 minus negative 10 divided by 10 minus negative 2. Okay, we have double negatives, so that we know that's going to change to addition. And our slope is going to become 6, because negative 4 plus 10 is positive 6, and then 10 plus 2 is 12. And remember, we always have to simplify, so our final answer is just going to be 1/2. So the slope of RS is positive 1/2. If RS is positive 1/2, a slope that's perpendicular to that would be -2 divided by 1, or just -2. So the slope that we're going to use is m equals -2. Okay, because RS is positive 1/2. All right. So now that we've done that, now we know the slope. We know the slope we're going to use of the perpendicular line. The slope of the perpendicular line is -2. And we know the 2 points that it's going to pass through. Okay. So with this information here, we're going to use the slope of -2 and the point 4, -7. Okay. And the 4, -7 is where the bisector intersects RS. Okay. Because it's the midpoint. So now with that being said, now we're going to do the third part. We have m equals -2, and our point is +4, -7. So we're going to label that as x1, y1. Then we're going to use our point slope formula to write our equation. And then we'll be done. So y minus -7 equals -2 times x minus 4. When we distribute, well, first, this is going to become a plus sign. So we know that that's going to become y plus 7 equals -2x plus 8. And our last step is to subtract 7 from both sides. When we do that, we're going to get y equals -2x plus 1. And this would be our perpendicular bisector, or the equation of line K. All right. Have a great day and see you all back later. Deuces.